No. No. No.
The battle between human development and the relentless force of the Atlantic Ocean is reaching a critical and dramatic peak along North Carolina's fragile Outer Banks. Today, 5 unoccupied beachfront homes in the village of Buxton were violently swallowed by the sea in the span of just 45 minutes, a direct result of the powerful churning waves generated by 2 simultaneous offshore hurricanes, Humberto and the intensifying Imelda. This is a stark escalation of the coastal crisis. The homes collapsed between approximately 2 o'clock p.m. and 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time, with 3 of the fallen structures being neighbors on Cottage Avenue and 2 others collapsing in close proximity on Tower Circle Road. Tragically, these latest events bring the total number of houses that have tumbled into the Atlantic on Hatteras Island to an alarming 17 since the year 2020, according to officials at the Cape Hatteras National Seashore. This figure dramatically underscores the accelerating nature of coastal erosion in this extremely vulnerable zone. Just 2 weeks ago, another Buxton home was claimed by the ocean, with the village now joining Rodanthe, 20 miles to the north, as a focal point in this continuous crisis.
Holy shit.
Despite the spectacular nature of the collapses, there are thankfully no reports of any injuries, as all 5 homes were unoccupied. This is often due to the fact that many of these highly threatened homes have already been decertified for occupancy by Dare County due to damage to septic systems and external stairs, which pose severe public health risks. Though both Hurricane Humberto and Hurricane Imelda are tracking out over the open Atlantic, with Imelda expected to strengthen to 100 miles per hour winds as it targets Bermuda. Their sheer, combined power is currently pummeling the southeastern coast. The massive waves and swells they are generating are creating life-threatening rip currents and triggering widespread coastal flooding. Coastal flood warnings are in effect for Ocracoke Island until Friday evening, anticipating ocean inundation of 2 to 3 feet above ground level, with the National Weather Service warning that this wave action presents an elevated threat of property damage, extending inland to threaten businesses and critical infrastructure. The impact on this fragile barrier island's lifeline is immediate. North Carolina Highway 12, the single road that connects the barrier islands, has been shut down along the north end of Ocracoke Island between the National Park Service pony pens and the ferry terminal due to increasing ocean overwash. North Carolina Department of Transportation officials have suspended ferry operations between Hatteras and Ocracoke Islands, paralyzing access for residents, commerce, and essential services, and transforming this recurring closure into a significant economic and logistical blockade. The consequences of the collapse extend far beyond the property line. The entire beachfront from northern Buxton through the northern section of off-road vehicle ramp 43 is now closed to the public. Park officials are urging visitors and residents to stay far away from the collapse sites and exercise extreme caution for miles to the south due to the presence of potentially hazardous debris. The wreckage of a collapsed structure scatters treated lumber, nails, insulation, plastics, furniture, and exposed septic tanks across miles of shoreline, posing a severe danger to beachgoers, wildlife, and the delicate ecosystem.
In the back.
One in the back?
Look, you see the two swinging around?
Yeah, there's one in the back, one in the middle.
Oh my gosh, look, this whole roof from the house that was right here is underneath of it.
Dare County Manager Bobby Outen acknowledged the extreme limitations local authorities face, stating that the county does not own the vulnerable land where the structures fell, as it is located within the national park. Outen emphasized the profound policy dilemma. The question becomes, how do we get those houses off of the beach before they fall? This is the core of the political and economic battle. Experts widely agree that barrier islands were never ideal for intense development, and the average erosion rate along the mid-Atlantic coast is accelerating, with certain hotspots along the Outer Banks losing as much as 10 to 15 feet of beach per year. Compounding the risk is the long-term threat of sea level rise, which is projected to increase by at least a foot by 2050 and will ultimately lead to rising groundwater that compromises septic systems, creating sanitation and public health crises.
Gotta be kidding me.
Furthermore, there is little to no financial incentive for property owners to proactively demolish or relocate their threatened homes. Insurance policies, as they are currently written, typically do not cover preventive action. Payouts are generally issued only after a structure has fully collapsed or is deemed a total loss by the sea. This unfortunate economic reality creates a system where waiting for the ocean to claim a home is often the only way for owners to recoup their substantial investment, further exacerbating the collapse and debris problem for the public good. The loss of these 5 homes is not just a personal tragedy for the homeowners, it is an 18-wheeler slamming into the community's economic engine, which relies heavily on tourism. The repeated closures of Highway 12 and the dangerous beach conditions threaten to disrupt vacations and impact the multi-billion-dollar tourism industry. The entire Outer Banks community now faces a profound choice: invest heavily and continuously in short-term beach nourishment that simply buys time, or commit to a long-term, painful process of managed retreat and infrastructural resilience that accepts the dynamic nature of these constantly shifting sands. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.